Legendary Pictures' Monsterverse is a series of films based around apex titans and beloved film favorites Godzilla and King Kong. The fourth film in the series, Godzilla vs. Kong, pits the giants against each other to find out who is truly the king of the monsters. While Warner Brothers is still releasing its entire slate of 2021 movies at home on HBO Max, this is a movie that I thought deserved to be seen in a theater. So I decided to take a break from reviewing Oscar films on the couch. I masked up and got back out there after staying away from theaters for over a year. I'm Ronald Young Jr., and I'm finally leaving the theater. All right, this is Ronald, and I am leaving the theater after watching Godzilla vs. Kong. I'm here with
Curtis Majors.
Yes, we are back in the theater. We're leaving. We might sound a little weird because we have our masks on, so we'll see how this goes, and I'll listen to the audio later. Hopefully it's all good. But again, Godzilla vs. Kong. Let's see. Thank you. Godzilla, we gotta. Did you violate your parking? Yeah. Okay, I gotta do mine. Godzilla vs. Kong, directed by Adam Wingard, written by Eric Pearson and Max Borenstein, starring Alexander Skarsgard, Millie Bobby Brown, Rebecca Hall, Brian Tyree Henry, Shun Oguri, Elza Gonzalez, Julian Dennison, Kyle Chandler, and Demian Bichir. All right, let's walk to your car. That way it makes more sense. So, first of all, back in the theater, this feels pretty normal, like surprisingly normal to a point, except there's disinfecting wipes everywhere. We got masks on. I mentioned to Curtis that before the show started, they had this long commercial about masks that was like super edited, but it felt like it had been there the whole time. There's signs up everywhere about wearing masks, all that. And we should probably tell y'all that Curtis and I are both vaccinated. So we felt pretty comfortable coming out, especially going with each other and being fully vaccinated. We felt like a little bit safer to be out here, to both be not contracting and not getting it? What am I trying to say?
Spreading it?
Yeah, not contracting and or spreading it. Yeah, okay. So yeah, feels pretty good out here for those that were interested in going to the movies. It feels like, I mean, if you're vaccinated, I think you could go. So, but I mean, take that on you. What do you think, Curtis?
No, I think, if you're vaccinated, you wear your mask. They got it separated pretty well, so I felt comfortable.
Yeah, me too. And I feel like when you buy a ticket, they immediately block. Are we going up these stairs again?
Yeah, you want to take the elevator this time?
No, let's take the stairs. So, is it the third floor again?
No.
Okay. All right, that's much better. I mean, I'm in better shape, but sheesh.
Yeah, not as many people out either. So
yeah.
It wasn't packed.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, and that's the thing. The theater wasn't packed. It felt good. It doesn't feel like, I don't know. It wasn't a bad situation for those who are curious about going back to the theater, what it's going to be like. It felt very normal. And, okay. We're at the car, so we're taking our masks off. Okay, so the one thing, so it felt very normal in that regard. The last movie we saw was Sonic the Hedgehog, which might come up again later. And we sat in those exact same seats in the Dolby Theater. And now we're back seeing Godzilla vs. Kong a little over a year later. So it also is out on HBO Max. We could have watched this at the house, but this felt like a movie that needed to be seen on the big screen. And I'll start with some initial thoughts. So Curtis, me and you, years ago, Steve Harvey has that joke that you repeated to me when I asked you what you thought of Titanic. I asked you this question years ago. You're like, it was fine. But I was like, yo, bring on the water, like Steve Harvey.
Right.
That was how I felt about this movie for like much of the beginning. What do you think?
I mean, I felt like most of the movie, honestly, like it was too much story.
Yeah.
I came to see Godzilla vs. Kong, not a bunch of humans and their problems. Like,
yes, I wrote that down. I wrote, this movie has way more plot than it needs. I'm like, you guys, I'm like, when they get to the first opening action, I was sitting there, and it was right when I turned to you and said, I was like, yo, man, they need to get to fighting. Right. And I remember I turned to you, and I was like, if that had been 10 minutes sooner that they had fought, I probably wouldn't have felt that way. Right. But that extra, like, 10 minutes when it's like they're not fighting yet, like, what are we doing? Why are we here? Why aren't y'all fighting yet?
And it's too much backstory on them. Like, we know what's about to happen. We know what needs to go on. Like, let them fight. There's too much story. Like,
and let's not forget that this is the result of 3 movies. There's 3 other movies of setup here.
There's a lot of hype.
Yeah, there was Godzilla, there's Kong Skull Island, and then there's Godzilla King of the Monsters. We good. Like, you don't need to tell me nothing else. Like, the Avengers, like, I don't even know who Captain America is. Just let them fight.
Right.
And they had all these subplots, and there was one point I didn't know what kind of movie I was watching. I'm like, is this a comedy movie? I will say Brian Tyree Henry, to me, was the shining spot in this movie because he had range. And I've seen him do comedy adjacent things before. He's been in Super Intelligent on HBO Max, which if you haven't watched, you should watch. It's actually pretty good, but Super Intelligent on HBO Max, which is pretty entertaining, and he's pretty funny in that. But we normally watch him play like more serious characters. So watching him do this, I felt was good. What did you think of his performance?
No, he had a really good performance. I'm used to seeing him range because the other HBO show he had, the Vice Principals, he was funny, so okay. I know he had a little bit of range, so it was cool to see him though. But he was the best part other than Kong versus Godzilla. When they let them fight, I was like really enthralled. It was a lot of action. So
no, agreed.
Just needed more of that.
Agreed. And it was and I think I'm afraid that the movie people, I don't know if when they were making this, they were like, well, we can't make a whole movie around just these 2 guys fighting. And I was like, no, you can. No. We're here for that. I'm like, if this movie had been 45 minutes of just a fight, I would have still came to the theater to see it because I feel like that's what I was here for. I feel like all of the plot points were just like kind of there as mechanical elements, like just to get Kong to Antarctica. Right. You know what I mean? They're like blah blah blah, and then we took Kong to Antarctica, which didn't make any sense. And I think it almost made me feel like there should have been another movie between these movies because there's 2 major plot points that they bring up, which. For those of you that care about, I'm going to spoil it right now. So I'm going to give everybody a chance to go do what you got to do. 3, 2, 1, and okay. So there's 2 major plot points that I really feel like are spoiled. I mean, I'm not spoiled, but that bother me, which is Hollow Earth and Mechagodzilla. Those could have been separate movies. I'm like, and I was sitting there watching it, and I realized towards the end that this has the same plot as Batman vs Superman: Dawn of Justice. If you replace Mechagodzilla with the Abomination. And I'm like, this whole time was like, yo, Batman and Superman about to fight. And it's like, no, they're not. No. They're going to fight for like 2 minutes.
They got the common enemy. No. Like, I'm with you. I follow that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So, not only that, it felt like we wanted to bring those threads back. It felt like none of those, it felt like we wanted all the plot points to come together. It didn't really feel like they came together. It felt like it generally, we kind of got to the fight at the end. And like you said, when you got to the fighting parts, it was enthralling. It was like, I was like, oh, I'm glad I watched this out here. Yeah. I did also have another thought, which was that I could just buy a bigger TV. And I was like, I could just keep buying bigger TVs.
No, I mean, I feel you. The fight scenes need to be seen on the big screen, but everything else in between, it's like I wish I could have just watched it at home. Like it wasn't nothing I needed to come out to the theater for.
Yeah, it was. I'll put it like this: I was happy that I was in the theater chair when it was happening, but I don't think I would have missed the theater if I were watching this on the couch at home. Because I'm like, I could have paused it and be like, oh man, y'all got to speed up. When they're gonna fight soon?
It's like when you go to an NBA game, I mean, the refs try to star in the game. It's like, we're not here to see the refs. Like, that's what the plot twist was. It was like a lot of refereeing. It's like, no, let them fight. Like, we're here to see the battle of the 2 titans or the 2 superstars. Like, let that just happen. Yeah, agreed. I felt like if you're going to take us that long, and that's the thing, if you're going to have those plot points, because I feel like the Avengers to me is film school textbook how you bring it all together. Like if you watch the first Avengers, we're watching that and they start with an action set piece, and none of the Avengers are actually, only one Avenger is there and doesn't have powers. Everybody else is like, and this big thing happens and we're like, oh snap, what's about to happen now? We haven't seen nobody like even Smash really do anything yet. Yep. And I'm like, by the time they bring everybody together and by the time you get to the end when you get that big one-shot scene,
they earn it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I've been with y'all the whole time. Y'all done had 3 fights. Like, this is a 2-hour movie. Like, I'm ready to go.
Right.
But this movie runs for an hour and 53 minutes. And I'm like, of it, I would say maybe 20 to 25 minutes of them is actually fighting.
Yeah.
And the rest is us like, we're exploring the world. And Alexander Skarsgard and Millie Bobby Brown. And I'm like, I don't care about none of y'all. Y'all got to go.
Too much plot.
Yeah, way too much plot. So, yeah, I think, okay, so here's the main question. So I actually looked this up while we were in there. The last movie we saw here was Sonic the Hedgehog. Right. Sonic the Hedgehog, we gave 2. I was surprised when you gave it 2 of 5 because you laughed a lot. And I was like, oh man, Kurt's about to give this joke like 4 stars. You're like, nah, it's definitely a 2-star movie. So we agreed, it's a 2-star movie. So this really makes our rating this movie easy. Yeah. So is this better or worse than Sonic the Hedgehog?
I would say it's worse than Sonic the Hedgehog.
Oh, you heard it here first. Okay. Okay. You know, I mean, yeah, it kind of was. Yeah, it kind of was. Like, I think it was. I don't know if it's 1 star worse.
1.5.
Yeah. I feel like I'd give it, I mean, I was prepared to give it 2 to match it at Sonic the Hedgehog, but it almost makes me, you know what it almost makes me want to do? It also makes me want to go back and give Sonic the Hedgehog like 2.5.
Maybe.
And say like, maybe it wasn't as bad as we thought at the time. But I mean, I just want to be clear to everybody. We are in a global pandemic. We just came out of we just got out of our house to watch a movie. We went to the AMC that we've gone through since we were kids to see a movie. Like, it should have been an easy softball layup, and this movie was not good. No. So yeah, okay, 1.5 stars.
First movie after a year, and it was like a blockbuster flop.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, and I think sitting on the couch, I might have been like, 2 stars. Yeah. 2.5, whatever. But I'm like, that I had to get in my car and I have to drive home, that we had to put on clothes, all of that is just, I don't know. And it kind of makes me hesitate about going to see the other Warner Brother movies in theaters, because I'm like, yo, y'all can't have me get out of my warm house. Nah. like if Mortal Kombat is bad, I'm going to be mad at y'all.
Yeah, but I mean, just to get out to even... This is what we used to do. So if I got to see another 1.5 star movie, as long as I'm in the theater, I kind of feel like it's going to be worth it.
Okay. I appreciate that.
I like the ambiance and the experience. It's just, we grew up on movies and we still love it.
Yeah, you're right. It's definitely, it's worth it to be out of the house. But yeah, 1.5 of 5 stars. I'm happy with that. 1.5 of 5 stars. I don't even know if I'll watch it again. If it's on, I probably wouldn't turn it off, but I would not purposefully choose it. Again, I'd have to be.
I'm going to bed.
Yeah, correct. Like that's I'll see y'all later.
Background noise.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you meant on the movie. Yeah, I did. So yeah, I mean, if y'all have HBO Max, watch it. Do not go to the theater to see this. That's like, I mean, if you want to be in the theater like us, if you're vaccinated, if it's safe for you, sure, get on out there. But if other than that, I wouldn't really look at this one to be that you have to be in there. Yeah. And with that. Leaving the Theater is a production of ohitsBigRon Studios. Theme music by the mysterious Breakmaster Cylinder. To find out more about this show and other ohitsBigRon Studios shows, follow me on Twitter and Instagram at ohitsBigRon. That's at ohitsBigRon. If you like this show, check out our sister show, Time Well Spent. Leaving the Theater will be back soon. Thanks for listening.